You know how President Trump is always saying,
It's the fake news media right back there.
the press reflected in his eye, tormenting him on the south lawn of the White House. Are you in there somewhere?
Probably.
Associated Press photographer Pablo Martinez Monsiváis,
And I looked and I was completely surprised and I was like, wow.
as beautiful as it is terrifying, marveled BuzzFeed News. Some compared it to the first ever photo of a black hole. Someone even put the reflected image of the press in the black hole. Of course, reactions to the president's eye are in the eye of the beholder. Such a fierce, determined look. That's the eye of a leader. Ignore the overgrown eyebrows, the bloodshot speck. That's not a hair in his eye. That's the rope line for the press to stay behind. The president's eye reminded some of Blade Runner, a futuristic Los Angeles mirrored in an eye. I've been sort of imagining Trump saying, there's like something in my eye. It's the enemy of the people.
The fake news, enemy of the people.
How many people had died in the United States?
So do you acknowledge that you didn't think
Keep your
it was
voice down,
going to
please.
spread?
Keep your voice down.
The argument is that you bought yourself some time and you didn't use it to prepare hospitals. You didn't use it to ramp up testing. Right now, nearly 20 million
you're so
people
disgraceful.
are unemployed.
It's so disgraceful the way you say that. Look. You know you're a fake. You know that. Your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake. And most of you, and not all of you, but the people are wise to you. That's why you have a lower approval rating than you've ever had before, times probably 3.
What do you say the Americans who are scared, though? I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say. Go ahead.
You've said repeatedly that you think that some of the equipment that governors are requesting they don't actually need. You said New York might not need 30,000. You said it on Sean Hannity's Fox News. You said
why don't you people act? Let me ask you.
You said
why don't you act in a little more positive? It's always trying to
My question to you is
get you. And you know what? That's why nobody trusts the media anymore. Look, let me tell you something. Be nice. Don't
Mr.
be
President, my
threatening.
question
Don't
is
be threatening.
As you played in that clip, has indeed praised a lot of what the federal government has done, but
Excuse me. He didn't say a lot. So report accurately, because you are one of the most inaccurate reporters. Those people have been just absolutely excoriated by some of the fake news, like you. You're CNN, you're fake news. And let me just tell you, they were excoriated by people like you that don't know any better, because you don't have the brains you were born with.
트럼프 대통령은 신속한 코로나19 대응책을 재촉하는 여론과 정치인들을 설득하려다 결국 바이러스에 감염되어 치료를 받고 퇴원합니다.
I just left Walter Reed Medical Center, and it's really something very special. The doctors, the nurses, the first responders, and I learned so much about coronavirus. And one thing that's for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. We have the best medicines, all developed recently. And you're going to beat it. We're going back to work. We're going to be out front. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know.
Why not just let the science speak for itself? Why are you promoting this drug?
I'm not. I'm just saying very simply, I'm not at all. I'm not. Look, you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to save lives.
You come out here every day, right, sir, talking about the benefits of hydroxychloroquine.
I want them to try it, and it may work and it may not work. But if it doesn't work, it's nothing lost by doing it, nothing. We don't have time to go and say, gee, let's take a couple of years and test it out.
And would you also weigh in on this issue of hydroxychloroquine? What do you think about this, and what is the medical evidence?
That question?
Yeah.
Maybe 15 times. You don't have to ask.
He's your medical expert, correct?
He's answered that question 15 times.
Dr. Fauci, why are you not wearing a face mask?
Is hydrochloroquine preventative against this virus? Yes or no?
You know, as I've said many times, Margaret, the data are really just at best suggestive. There have been cases that show there may be an effect, and there are others to show there's no effect.
Okay.
So I think in terms of science, I don't think we could definitively.
My physician has not recommended that, but I wouldn't hesitate to take the counsel of my doctor or any American should do likewise.
앤토니 파우치 박사와 펜스 부통령 등 트럼프 대통령 행정부 내에서도 그의 정책에 반대하는 의견이 많았고 정당과 언론에서도 그의 편은 없었습니다.
If anybody else were promoting it, they'd say this is the greatest thing ever.
President Trump blasts back, battling critics of an unproven anti-malaria drug he says he's taking to prevent COVID-19. From the FDA, from members of his own task force and physicians across the country. But today, President Trump defended his use of an unproven drug to prevent coronavirus. He is dismissing both studies and suggestions that there could be bad outcomes with hydroxychloroquine, insisting he knows better. The president is also adamant that it is not necessary for him to wear a mask. Now, that's actually something the CDC and health officials around the world say is effective in helping to prevent the spread. So many are now questioning why the president continues to tout a drug that, if used incorrectly, could potentially be fatal.
That after President Trump's surprise announcement he's taking the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine as a preventative measure against COVID-19.
I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine.
The drug has not been proven effective against the coronavirus, but on Capitol Hill today, President Trump refused to back down.
Why is it okay for you to promote the use of this drug when you're not a doctor?
And so, again, this is an individual decision to make.
But the FDA has explicitly warned against using hydroxychloroquine for COVID treatment outside hospitals or clinical trials.
Trump also shared a tweet claiming that masks aren't about public health, but social control, and that the image of Joe Biden wearing one endorses a culture of silence, slavery, and social death.
CDC is advising the use of non-medical cloth face covering. This is voluntary. I don't think I'm going to be doing it.
이뿐만이 아니었습니다. 트럼프 대통령은 기후변화 이슈 자체가 사기라며 세계 195개국이 동의한 파리 기후협정에서도 탈퇴할 것을 선언합니다.
At the Paris Climate Conference, US President Donald Trump defended his environmental record and justified his decision to pull out of the International Paris Climate Agreement.
I withdrew the United States from the unfair and one-sided Paris Climate Accord. The Paris Accord was not designed to save the environment. It was designed to kill the American economy.
President Trump believes climate change is a hoax. We know this because he has said it over and over again.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax.
더 큰 문제는 트럼프 대통령이 WEF 세계 경제 포럼에 참석하여 폭탄 같은 발언을 한 것입니다. 기후, 전염병, 에너지, 금융위기 등 국제적 이슈를 점검하고 공동의 정책을 수립하여 지침을 세우는 모임에서 그들과 정면으로 반대되는 연설을 한 것입니다.
This is not a time for pessimism. This is a time for optimism. Fear and doubt is not a good thought process, because this is a time for tremendous hope and joy and optimism and action. But to embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, we must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of the apocalypse. They are the heirs of yesterday's foolish fortune tellers, and they predicted an overpopulation crisis in the 1960s, mass starvation in the 70s, and an end of oil in the 1990s. These alarmists always demand the same thing: absolute power to dominate, transform, and control every aspect of our lives. In America, we understand what the pessimists refuse to see: that a growing and vibrant market economy focused on the future lifts the human spirit and excites creativity strong enough to overcome any challenge by far.
As President of the United States,
트럼프 대통령의 거친 행보는 급기야 유엔과 세계보건기구에까지 이릅니다.
The European Union is urging all countries to back the World Health Organization after President Trump threatened to permanently cut ties with the UN agency.
They have to clean up their act. They have to do a better job. They have to be much more fair to other countries, including the United States, or we're not going to be involved with them anymore. We'll do it a separate way.
Article 1 is adopted. He gave us no choice. Never before in the history of our nation have we seen a president declare and act if he is above the law. The president goes even so far as to say, I can do whatever I want. No, it doesn't.
He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing on one another.
We've had no negative
cheek to
effect.
jowl. He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraged them not to. By his own admission, he continued to lie about COVID-19. He doubled down on the catastrophic mistakes that he's made. And perhaps, worst of all, he made clear that he still doesn't have a plan to bring us out of this crisis.
I cannot diagnose Donald Trump. I don't know Donald Trump, but I would say that someone who spends time creating a very grandiose view of themselves and will break the rules, lie, do something unethical for the purpose of that, it certainly makes you think about intense narcissism.
The president is a raving lunatic. He is not well. Those are not my words. Those are the words of Andrew Gillum, the former Democratic mayor of Tallahassee, who came in second in last year's race for governor in Florida.
If we could construct a psychiatric Frankenstein monster, we could not create a leader more dangerously mentally ill than Donald Trump. He's a paranoid, psychopathic narcissist who's divorced from reality and lashes out impulsively at his imagined enemies.
Dr. Dotis writes, Mr. Trump's sociopathic characteristics are undeniable. They create a profound danger for America's democracy and safety. Over time, these characteristics will only become worse.
President Trump went so far as to retweet this man in a Florida bar. Take a listen.
I'm at a bar, restaurant. We're all having a good time. Not a single face mask. It's not that bad, guys.
Cases are still rising in at least 11 states.
Why did you lie to the American people, and why should we trust what you have to say now?
Such a terrible question, and the phraseology. I didn't lie. What I said is we have to be calm, we can't be panicked.
Out and said it's just like the flu.
What I went out and said is very simple. I want to show a level of confidence, and I want to show strength as a leader, and I want to show that our country is going to be fine one way or the other. As I signed the executive order to ensure that American citizens have first priority to receive American vaccines, and then we're going to be working with other countries all over the world. So thank you very much. Thank you. It's a great honor.
결국 트럼프 대통령은 여론의 비난과 정치적 압박을 견디지 못하여 백신 정책을 승인하고 자국민에게 최우선으로 백신을 공급한다는 행정명령에 서명하면서 상기된 표정을 감추지 못했습니다. 트럼프는 세계를 다스리는 조직들과 등을 지고 세상의 모든 언론과 다투며 상처뿐인 임기를 마쳤습니다. 그는 과연 미치광이었을까요?